In the heart of a vibrant wildflower meadow, bathed in sunlight and bustling with the activity of various creatures, Evander, the bumblebee, commenced another day of exploration and foraging. Evander's robust, fuzzy body shimmered with black and yellow bands that encircled Evander like the ribbons of an old, noble uniform. Evander's wings, delicate and almost transparent, fluttered with a persistence that defied their fragile appearance. Every morning, as the sun lifted its golden head above the horizon, Evander would launch into the cool air, buzzing vigorously, the sound a gentle hum in the symphony of the meadow. Evander's antennas, always twitching, acted as sensitive guides, picking up chemical signals which spoke of nectar and pollen. Evander's first destination was often the cluster of bluebells on the eastern side of the meadow. These flowers, with their bell-shaped blooms, hung like delicate sapphire pendants from slender, green stalks. Evander, with expert precision, would dive into the heart of the flowers, the tiny hairs on Evander's body catching pollen grains as Evander moved from one bloom to another. Beyond the bluebells, the sunflowers towered like golden sentinels. Their large, round faces, each a fiery disk rimmed with brilliant yellow petals, tracked the sun's journey across the sky. Evander visited these giants, climbing into the cavernous centers where the seeds were forming, and feasted on the abundant nectar, all the while dusting Evander's body with more pollen. By midday, the meadow simmered under the high sun. Evander would often pause atop a leaf, the tiny legs finding brief respite while Evander's wings quivered slightly, cooling Evander's body down. The landscape around Evander buzzed with the activities of other creatures. Dragonflies shot across the sky like living darts, their wings catching the light and splintering it into rainbows, while ladybugs clambered over the dew-speckled blades of grass, their red and black shells glossy in the sunlight. Evander's afternoon usually brought Evander to the wild roses, which crept eagerly up the old wooden fence that marked the meadow's boundary. These flowers, with their open faces and soft petals ranging from deep crimson to pale pink, exuded a fragrance that was almost intoxicating. Evander moved among them with a gentle reverence, the busy bee's body now heavily laden with pollen, looking almost like a jeweled collector of fine dusts. As the sun began its descent, casting an orange glow across the fields, Evander returned to the hive, a structure of intricate wax that was both Evander's home and the repository of the meadow's bounty. Here, amidst the constant hum of Evander's fellow bees, Evander deposited the collected pollen and nectar, contributing to the hive's prosperity. The hive was a labyrinth of activity, with each bee performing its task in an orchestrated chaos that somehow resulted in perfect order. The walls vibrated with the collective hum of production as nectar was transformed into honey, the golden liquid of energy that sustained the hive. As night drew its curtain across the sky, Evander rested among the warmth of the hive, the body finally still after a day of tireless devotion to the duty of foraging. In this quietude, under the stars that now peeked from the dark heavens, Evander was just a small, essential part of a much larger world, a world that thrived on the industry and cooperation of countless creatures like Evander. The meadow slept, and so did Evander, ready to rise with the next day's sun and dance again through the wildflowers.